Morning. The following is the agenda for the regular Borough Council meeting of the Borough Council Lakes, Borough Council Municipal Corporation. County of Passaic, the meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. on October 23rd, 2024, in the Municipal Building, 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act. The meeting will be open for public comments and shall be in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Borough's Municipal Code and bylaws.
Please stand for a flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bless us, Mayor and Council, as to deliberate on the best of Pompton Lakes. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all, have requested and paid for same, and published in Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Shah.
Here.
Council President Devon.
Here.
Councilman Cruz.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Here.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Excused.
Do we have to vote on that, or is,
Correct.
right?
Yes, we either vote, do a resolution to excuse her, or we just mark her absent.
Okay, so you're supposed to vote on that.
Well, somebody has to make a motion. Do we
Okay.
care?
Yeah, do we care? I don't.
Let's just mark it absent.
Yeah, just mark it absent. Should be fine.
It's fine.
And Councilman Bennett.
Here. Okay, under presentations, I really don't have any, so motion to open the meeting for public comments.
So moved.
Council President
Second.
Ryan, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Well, thank you for the street signs, I appreciate them.
Just need your name and address, that's
Oh,
all.
I'm sorry, yes, Judith Broderick, 21 Albert Street, Pompton. Again, I'm happy to see the street signs. Not all the signs have the cardinals on, I know not all the signs are up. How do I know that? Because the sign on my street is still not up. But Willard Street, which I called Willard Street, is now Willard Avenue. I don't know if anybody knew that or not. And the light at the end of our street that's by Ringwood Avenue is out. I'm here to tell you, I don't know who takes care of that.
So you're saying on Ringwood and Willard? I mean,
Ringwood
Ringwood and
and Albert.
Albert, okay.
Okay. So I took a walk to take the pictures of those streets, what look like the Willard streets. But anyway, as I was walking on uneven grass. I know there's sidewalks in town, most of, my street has sidewalks on both sides, but most of the streets have sidewalks only on one side. It's very dangerous to walk there on Ringwood Avenue without a sidewalk. I know that's Passaic County, and I assume that our town has to tell Passaic County, you know, we need these sidewalks, our children walk to school. We need, you know, protection for them. And so that's my, oh, and my husband said the roof on the Civic Center really needs to be attended to. That's mine.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Daniel Tashkin, 52.5 Howard Street. I was here 2 council meetings ago, and I asked to hear from Councilman Cruz and Councilman Kilburg why they declined the League of Women Voters candidates form. You told me to send them an email, which I did. I sent them both an email, and I have gotten no response. So I'm here again, asking once again to hear from them why they declined. And I think it's a fair question, and that's my question.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Helene Zablocki, 6 Butler Street. There was a time when I attended council meetings regularly. I had a few occasions to email the mayor and council. One time, a long-time library staff member was honored by Mikey Sherrill's office, who was then our congresswoman, for her devoted service to Pompton Lakes. We learned about this award one week, and Joan was moving out of state the following week. There was no scheduled council meeting in between, so I invited the mayor and council to attend the presentation via email. It was short notice and a weekday afternoon, but I certainly wanted our local leaders to be included. I expected maybe, I'm sorry, I can't attend, but please convey our congratulations. But nothing, no answer, no acknowledgement, not even the pretense of caring. Recently, as Mr. Sarah suggested, residents email Mr. Cruz and Ms. Kilberg to ask them why they refuse to participate 4th year in a row in the candidates forum. And I thought, well, the suggestion is coming from the mayor. Maybe something had changed. I know I wasn't the only one to email the candidates, but I can only speak for myself. No. No response. Nothing has changed. Now, I read agendas and minutes, but I stopped coming to meetings. It was so unpleasant, and sadly, that hasn't changed either. This is billed as a public meeting. It's anything but. Until Republicans join all candidates, Democrats and independents, to help voters understand who they are and what they stand for, the only people in this town who have a voice are the people who agree with you. And that is a sorry example of local government.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. On resolution 24406, says authorize promotion of Edward Bartlett. Who is Mr. Bartlett? And what is the promotion?
Okay.
Also, I've had a couple of incidents where I've helped people. I notice when Councilwoman Kent comes here a lot of time, and other people up the front steps have to use the side railing. I'd like the building inspector to measure that steps in the front of the municipal building. There really needs to be a railing in the middle, at least one, if not two. So I'd like you to possibly check into that. Because I saved, I don't want to say, but I saved a nice elderly woman, she was walking down the steps and she lost her balance, and luckily she grabbed onto me and I grabbed onto her. So it's a hazard, I know Councilwoman Kent and other people. I was here last meeting and I asked about stop signs at Montclair and Ackerman, any movement on that? And also the trucks running Broad Street, I haven't seen any police there since I asked the last time. I was wondering if the liaison to the police department brought that message to them, because there's still trucks running those stop signs. And that's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion?
Council President DeWine,
Second.
Councilwoman Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? The street signs, yes, we're slowly replacing them. We'll go to the middle of the winter, and then we'll start again if we didn't get them all done. But we're going to do it in 2 sessions. There'll be another group being done next year. So I don't know where it ends and where it begins. I can't talk. Yeah, I can't talk. Yeah, I know they did the one corner, but it might have been a bad pole, or it might have been something. I'll have Mike look into Willard and, I'm sorry, name of the street again? Albert. the sidewalks at the county. You know, I agree with you, when they went to the one lane, I spoke with the county, I said that would be your time to put in sidewalks over there, and they didn't want to give up the space to put in sidewalks, so they just, their suggestion is, there's lots of county roads that don't have sidewalks. It's unfortunate.
I understand that, but how many?
Again, you can't go back and forth. I will bring it up to them again, though, and mention it to them again, but at the end of the day, it's up to the county to make that decision. We can't put them in there. Dan, I will leave it up to both of them. If you guys want to make a statement or not, it's up to you. I don't care, one way or the other. Nope? Okay, so thank you for your comments, for both of you, for Dan and Helena, thank you for your comments. Mr. Hinton, I'll start with Sal. I will talk to Sal about the space. I'm sure that there is enough space there, but let's ask him just to verify that. The trucks, I did happen to have a meeting with the representative of Tilcon, and I mentioned your concern to them, and she said she would talk to her local police, but we can always send the police over there, take a look, see if we can get them over there. Well, no, on Broad Street.
Oh, on Broad, just.
Broad Street. The stop signs, we did look at them, and I think we are addressing maybe putting in stop signs, is that right?
We did meet on site with the police department and the borough engineers preparing a sketch.
Do we have to do, we have to pass it by ordinance too?
We will have to, yes.
Yeah. So we are looking into that. Okay, thank you. Okay. Motion to approve the following minutes. Special closed meeting minutes, October 9th, regular meeting minutes, October 9th, regular closed session meetings minutes, October 9th.
So moved.
Council
Second.
President Deline, Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Authorized bills and claims as listed below. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Bennett, Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? I'm sorry, before we get to the resolutions, you did ask about who the Edward Bartlett is. He is a patrolman, has been a patrolman for the last 15 years, who will be moved up to sergeant. Anybody need any of the consent agendas removed or questioned?
Resolutions, yes.
Yes.
24-407.
407. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, Liz.
Whereas the mayor and council of Borough Compton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of Borough Compton Lakes does desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 24-400 through 24-410, with the removal of 24-407.
Motion to approve the resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Council President Line, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? 24-407.
Authorizing the execution and renewal of a shared service agreement with the Borough of Bloomingdale for the provision of vegetative waste recycling services.
Lisa, do you have a question? That's our
Yes.
grass.
Oh, is that what it is?
Composting.
Oh, okay, I thought it was, maybe had something to do with the bamboo. I just wanted to explain.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so currently we have a shared service agreement with the Borough of Bloomingdale for vegetative waste services, which is our yard waste refuse
Okay.
and sticks, branches. Of course, the residents have the opportunity to take it to the recycling center, but ultimately, all of it is brought to the Borough of Bloomingdale's
Oh, okay.
compost facility, and in turn, the Borough of Bloomingdale brings it to RER Recycling in Riverdale.
Mhm.
I will note that the superintendent and I looked at this agreement before bringing it forth for consideration. We did not find any viable alternatives at this time. We did look at other municipalities, private, going directly to RER, but none of them were as a cost savings as this.
Okay, thank you.
Any other
you.
questions? Okay, Liz.
Do you want me to do a roll call?
Yeah, roll call, please.
Councilman Bennett,
Yes.
Councilman Cruz,
Yes.
Councilman Deloy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent,
Yes.
Councilwoman Silver,
Yes.
ordinances for first reading. and introduction, and the second reading and final adoption be November 13th. Ordinance 24-40, bond ordinance providing for improvements of various roads in the borough of Pompton Lakes and the county of Passaic appropriating $731,200, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $548,672 bonds or notes of the borough for finance and special appropriation.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-40 for introduction.
So moved.
Council President DeLine,
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? It says roll call, I guess roll call.
Yes, roll call.
Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Councilman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilman DeLine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Yes.
Ordinance for second reading and final adoption, it has been posted on the municipal board and advertised. Ordinance 2439, an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain property owned by the Borough of Pompton Lakes, block 9509, lot 4, and certain FCC licenses for radio broadcast stations not required for public purposes pursuant to state statute.
Motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 24-39.
So moved.
Council
Second.
President DeLine, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address just this ordinance? Seeing no one, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 24-39.
So moved.
Council President DeLine,
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve ordinance 24-39 for final adoption.
Motion. Second.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Cruz, roll call, please.
Discussion?
Oh, sure. You wanna-
This ordinance authorizes to put it for sale. We haven't had an agreement on the sale. yet.
Correct,
Correct.
Council
This is just the
President.
listing, yeah.
I just wanted to be sure.
So
Okay,
just to
thank
clarify, the next steps are for us to post bid solicitations in the newspaper and on the website. We've set a bid due date of November 14th. Potential buyers have until then to submit their bid and propose price for the property. And then hopefully in December, the Borough Council can consider an award of a bid.
you. Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Councilman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilman DeLine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Under my report, I have two appointments. I'm going to mayor to appoint Sean Boosma as an alternate one to the member of the planning board to fill an unexpired term December 31st to 2024. Mayor's appointee of Andy Dixon as an alternate commissioner to the Shade Tree Commission to fill an unexpired term until December 31st, 2026. Okay, under my report, I did a couple weddings last week. It was nice to go to someone's actual home and do a real wedding with, the whole setup, and it was very nice to see everybody dressed that way. I attended the zoning board meeting last night, and there was discussion on a couple properties in town that got some approval. I'm sure Councilman Cruz will speak about that a little bit. I attended the Historic Commission meeting, which Councilman Bennett, I'm sure, will talk about a little bit, but they have some good ideas and some good plans moving forward over there. I attended I had a meeting with our administrator on some proposed engineering projects that we're going to be moving forward with in the future. We are addressing the DEP concerns that were brought to us, and I think we've come to a conclusion of how that will be addressed, but I'll let Michael address that a little bit. What else do I have here? I attended the bid meeting. There was a long discussion on the holiday stroll and how they'd like to entertain and move it forward a little bit and maybe tighten it down a little bit and make it work a little smoother as we move forward. Just for everybody's idea, the town is only responsible really for the part of Santa coming in on the sleigh and coming into town hall. The bid itself runs the festival that happens in the street. So combined together, we kind of put those two things together. The bid has their own budget. They come up, the bid is a very well-organized group in town that puts a lot of time and energy to beautifying our downtown, to running all the events you see, the Scarecrow concerts, all the concerts we have. That all comes out of a tax that's assessed on the landlords or business owners of the town. It does not come off our own tax dollars here. And it's a great asset to have, because one of the bigger payers of that tax is the DuPont Corporation, and they put a good sum of money into the bid to make things work there. So we're lucky to have an organization to run that. I attended the redevelopment meeting. There was 2 projects on the agenda, and I'm sure Councilman Venon will talk more about this. One of them was a redevelopment project. The other one was a redo of what we call the Washington Building, which is where the bakery is now. And this is what I tried to explain to some people before. They are not looking for a pilot, so they can build anything they really want there as long as they fit within our variances and times. So if they wanted to put a purple building there with no windows, they could do that. No windows. That's an exaggeration. But they did come as a courtesy to the redevelopment agency, and the redevelopment agency did give them some good ideas. And I thought one of them was they want to keep the way that the stores are there now, where they have an entrance with a little hallway before you get into the store. They don't want flat glass across the front. I think that was a great suggestion. That building, if it's done, will have 8 apartments on top, and the stores will all stay where they are and be built around and look like one uniform building. It'll make that corner look very nice, in my opinion, and look good. The other project, I'm sure Councilman Venom will talk more about, but is the old gas station on the corner. And that is my report. Council President Thorne.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week I attended the planning board meeting. The planning board reviewed, did a couple courtesy reviews from the school district. It's going to be taking a portion of Lenox School that had been asphalt and then grass, and I think it might be asphalt again. They're actually going to be turfing that particular section and closing it and utilizing it for smaller sporting events. It's going to be like large enough for younger children to play soccer, things like that, but it's also going to be open to more or less the public, the same way that our lakeside schools are open. It's going to be opened up during recess, things like that. And then the other item was bleachers at Lakeside School. That's sort of their final phase of the Lakeside School sports field improvements. Just so public is aware, because I know it's been quite a few years when this project came up, there was a lot of discussion on whether football would be moved up to Lakeside School. That is not going to happen. All other sports will be played at Lakeside Middle School, but they're going to keep football down at Hirschfield Park. Just so people are aware, these are courtesy reviews. These projects are actually reviewed and approved by the State Board of Education. So the planning board just gets the opportunity to comment, but it is not a yes or no vote. It's ultimately reviewed and approved by the state itself. I did not attend the MUA meeting, but I did get their reports. Couple things going on. As I've reported before, there is the need to do PFAS treatment for well number 3. They've actually gone through conceptual design, and they're going through iBank again for that funding. The purchase of the home necessary for the 1,4-dioxane treatment. The house, again, has been purchased. They're looking at, they basically did a pro forma on renting it out. They had, I think that some of the rent numbers might be a little aggressive, but nevertheless, it looks like it behooves them to at least rent it until they are able to do that, until they can build the well treatment. And then finally, one other project they have going on is the North Sewerage Pumping Station Upgrade Project. Again, that design is underway, and again, that project is being funded through iBank. And that concludes my report.
Eventually, though, that house will come down.
Yes,
correct?
it absolutely is.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Pompton Lakes Chamber of Commerce 25th Antique Car Show, along with Councilman Venon. We sponsored 6 trophies for the winning entries. There were over 58 trophies and that were awarded, and it was a beautiful day where they had good oldies music. They had a large 50-50 winner. Everyone enjoyed the event very much, and it was really nice to see all the old cars. A special thank you to Art and Margaret Kafka, Sue Barone, Valerie Cole, Danny Black, and Rob and Linda Walker for all the work that they did on that program and making it the best show ever. I spoke with Chief Clark, and this past week, I guess there was a home invasion at night and a car theft on the south end of the borough. The invaders stole a very high-end vehicle. They broke into the home with the family still in bed. Family heard the car drive away. The police were called, and the perpetrators were captured and arrested because of the good work that our detective bureau did. And the vehicle was returned. So we're very fortunate to have a very good, solid police department. And how scary was that? But that they got them. So.
And they drove up 23 the wrong way to get away from the police.
Yeah, it was a serious
Thing, yeah.
a serious thing, but luckily everything came out good, so we were blessed on that. I attended the Shade Tree Commission monthly meeting, and we are going to thank you very much for the new vote for the new Shade Tree Commissioner. He's very nice. I think he has a landscape background, and so he's going to be an amazing asset to the group. I signed the monthly bills today. And I also attended and ran the Open Space Committee meeting. I know there was a little issue last month about the Open Space Committee, but I can assure you, our projects are on time. They are timely. The problem with most of the projects is that we're in a floodway, and a lot of them need permits. So all of that permitting and all of that special file review and site review all costs a lot of money and it takes up a lot of time. So what I did is I asked Administrator Corelli to come and to give us some updates on some of the grants that were issued. And I have to tell you, he was instrumental in providing very specific details for each project. He had cost estimates, he had the permit information, updates on the professional reviews from our engineers, as well as the grant applications and how much monies were actually granted and when those grants were going to expire. So we have to look at the expiration dates of those grants as well. So what we decided to do, next month, the Open Space Committee members are going to provide their recommendations and they're going to vote for each project along with the timeline for the completion based on the funding available and what we have. All the suggestions will be voted upon by the members of this mayor and council because the recommendations that come from the Open Space Committee are just that. They are recommendations. Mayor and council have to decide whether or not you want these projects and whether you want to continue with the funding and with the grants. So that'll be our decision at that time. So that's how that works, just so everybody understands that. But anyone who is interested in any open space projects that have been proposed, and some of them have been around, a few years, they should come to our meeting, which is November 14th at 7:30 p.m. here in Borough Council Chambers. And if anyone has a special question, I certainly will do my best to answer that. I also attended the Pompton Lakes Volunteers Fire Department Prevention Month, their open house. Here's the cute little helmet that they gave to the kids who came. It's with Sparky, and Sparky was at the firehouse. And what the firefighters do is they open up the firehouse to the public for a full tour. They give demonstrations on firefighting techniques, and they also serve delicious refreshments to all the attendees. The children saw Sparky the dog, they took pictures, got to sit on the fire engines, and it was a very well-attended meeting. I was bequeathed 2 historic documents from a historic type of person who looks for these things over in Pequannock. One is the Pompton Lakes Kiwanis Club. It's a book with all of the addresses and phone numbers that start with TER 51149. That's about all you get. This was probably printed back in 1940. And the second one that I'm going to give you tonight is the Old Swimming Hole Incorporation Financial Operating Statement dated 1952.
That's a good one.
And it's really interesting because, believe it or not, there was a whole incorporation at the swimming hole that half the people may not even know where it's at. But it's a beautiful old document. It's in really good shape. And they said, please give this to your historic commission, which I'm going to do. Okay? So thank you. I only ask that I'll give you the information just to get a thank you to the person who donated. All right, so thank you very much. We are in a drought warning, just so you know, by DEP. So just Please be careful with any outdoor equipment that you use, including your, anything that causes a spark, including your chainsaws, power mowers, and blowers. And of course, watch your water use for your lawns. I'm going to ask the mayor, tonight in our packet, in our emails, we received a letter and from one of the organizations called Jersey Strong Coastal Coalition, Waves Not Blades. And a number of, I think 2 or 3 months ago, we approved a resolution that went down to the governor's office, and it went to all the legislatures about, being very careful about giving away our property, because it's our property, it's the residents' property in New Jersey that is outside of, I think it's up to 12 miles of beach and ocean. And that is now being considered by the Bureau of Public Utilities to give to this Atlantic Shores South project for about 600 of these large industrial turbines. They're not windmills. They're not cute little things that you find in Holland. They are very large turbines. They're over 100 feet tall, wide, and there's going to be 600, and they're going to go all along the East Coast. And what they found is that a lot of the information that they were supposed to provide the state, including marine and wildlife studies, further understanding how these turbines are going to work, who's going to take care of them, who's going to repair them, who's responsible for them overall when they break, how are the beaches going to be impacted. None of that is in these reports, and yet the state of New Jersey is pushing this project through, and it's a very serious oversight. It'll affect tourism, beaches, natural use, so on and so forth. Economically, just so you know, 25% of all the electric users of everywhere is going to go up. So your bill is going to go up 25% no matter who you are. In addition, and that's industrial, residential, and there's concern that we will not even benefit, New Jersey will not benefit from the electric produced, it'll go to New York. So there's all kind of stuff. However, what they're asking for is, and they've got a number of different towns that signed, the mayor signed with our, and I'm asking you, Mayor, they're asking for a barrel, I'm asking that we support it, to also support our resolution on that. So I'm hoping we can do that tonight or this week. That's coming up. Okay, and that is my report.
Okay, no problem. I will sign that, so just get it in
Thank
front of
you.
my desk. One thing I forgot, and
Thank you.
Councilwoman Kilberg and Councilman Denon were there. We had our Halloween hunt, one of my favorite events during the year. We had, well over a couple hundred kids and parents there. The recreation always does a great job, and everybody leaves with a pumpkin and a bag of candy and some toys. It's done at night, and they're all looking for their pumpkins. I remember the days when my kids used to go. I wish they were still going, but I guess they can't do that anymore. They don't want to go. So I forgot to mention that. Councilwoman Kilberg.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve the request of the Pompton Lakes Chamber of Commerce to close Wanacue Avenue between Pompton and Lakeside Avenue between the hours of 2 p.m. until 9 p.m. on Saturday, December 7th, 2024, with a rain date of December 8th, 2024 for the annual holiday stroll. Also to use Bartholomew Avenue, Ramapo Avenue, and Lakeside Avenue as a detour route, and to hang a banner to promote the holiday stroll across Wanacue Ave from November 10th to December 9th, 2024. Passaic County Board of Commissioners, Office of the County Engineer, Morris County Municipal JIF, Police, and Fire Departments have been notified.
Can I have a second?
Second?
Councilwoman Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Okay. I attended the EPC meeting, and they are going to have a table at the holiday stroll. I attended the car show. There was a lot of beautiful old cars, and it was perfect weather for a stroll at Wanacue Ave. This past Sunday, I attended the Halloween hunt at Hirschville Park. The event was well attended, and it was a lot of fun. I attended the library board meeting, and they were looking into putting a new cooling and heating system on the second floor. But the bid they received was much higher than what they thought it was going to be, so they're going to get a couple more estimates, and they might have to go out to bid. I attended the MUA meeting this week. It was informative, and I'm glad I attended. Last night, I attended the recreation meeting. The walking club is Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. at Lakeside School. Breakfast with Santa is December 14th at the Pompton Lakes Elks. There are 2 seatings, 8:30 and 10:30. They ask that if you know whom you would like to sit with, that you all purchase your tickets together as a group. You can purchase tickets by using the QR code on the flyer or going to our Capture Point account. The letters to Santa mailbox will be at the post office on Friday, November 29th to Sunday, December 15th. The Elks Drug Awareness Program, Dare to Be Aware, Walkout on Drugs, is Sunday, November 3rd at 10 a.m. They will walk to Lakeside Park at 11 a.m., and there will be lunch and a guest speaker at 12 p.m. The Elks Hoop Shoot Free Throw Contest at Lakeside School on November 16th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Veterans Day ceremony is Wednesday, November 6th at 6:30 at Borough Hall. Pompton Lakes Free Rabies Clinic is Saturday, November 9th, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Pompton Lakes Fire Department. The Pompton Lakes Bid Bucks sale is November 16th in the high school parking lot. Shred It Day is Saturday, November 23rd, Lakeside School parking lot from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. or until the truck is full. And the holiday stroll is December 7th from 4:30 to 8:30. The Toys for Tots train is coming December 14th from 1 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. at the train station. The Pompton Lakes Explorers Christmas Party will be held at the Elks on Sunday, December 15th at 1 p.m. And there is pickleball on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. through December 7th. And drop-in fee is $15. I think I got it all.
You did? Got a lot. Big request.
Right.
We're gonna be playing pickleball in the cold?
We do.
No, at Lake, they play at.
They play inside.
Lakeside, yeah,
Is that your report?
yes, that's it, I'm.
Just to add some information, the Santa breakfast does sell out, and they do not sell tickets at the door, so if you're interested in joining that, you do have to get them early. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. So I attended the RDA meeting last week. The 60 Wanacue Ave project, the gas station across from the Lidl, we recommended for council review to move forward. I haven't jotted down my other notebook, the number of units, Mayor. It depends on the parking.
It's between 17 and 22 they got approved for, depending if the county will sell them some parking
Right,
spots.
so it depends on the parking. lot.
But it's
17 and
approved
20.
for that number, between 17 and 22.
Correct. So we recommended, made the recommendation for council to review.
Yes.
Is what we voted on that night. The other project that came before us was, as Mayor mentioned, the Washington Building, also known as Jimmy the Shoe Doctor. I'm told the second floor is literally falling apart, currently being held together. And the project is for, as the mayor mentioned, seven two-bedroom and one bedroom. So its maximum height stays the same. It's just going to be rebuilt and look much better than it currently does. The businesses will stay in place as the construction occurs. The engineering has been done to confirm that it is strong enough to withstand the new construction. The Historic Preservation Commission met last night. We are going to be acknowledged at the Preserve New Jersey Awards at Lambert Castle on the November 16th, right? The day we get back from the league, that night. And we were acknowledged as the 2024 Historic Preservation Commission Award for the work that they did with the Wells Fargo mural preservation. So that's a great acknowledgement for them. Spoken History was one of the projects Mayor Mike was, they were talking about last night. That's basically bringing in folks that have been in town for a very long time and just speaking with us while we record the questions and answers, because we have a lot of folks that have been here a very long time. Al Evangelista, Mr. Hinton, a bunch of folks that we would love to bring in. Instead of doing it separately, we're going to bring you into one of our meetings and invite you to do Q&A, fun question and answer, and just do a brain dump of all the things that occurred during their lifetime. As Mayor mentioned, the Halloween hunt, very intense as the children ran towards you if you're trying to block them from starting too early, but it was fun, a lot of fun. And as far as the sidewalks on Ringwood Ave, Councilman DeLine, is it part of the Complete Streets? If you know.
I mean, there's always sort of this this, this loophole where if the, in this case, the county engineer determines that the cost would be prohibitive to add new sidewalks, you can basically waive the requirements of like, the Passaic County does have a complete streets policy to that. So if they decide, well, because concrete sidewalks obviously add a cost to just a milling and paving job of Ringwood Avenue, which was done a few years ago when they did the bike lanes and restriped it and everything like that. So that's one way to get around it. It's just basically saying, we reviewed this for complete streets, and because of the cost associated with adding new sidewalks, or in the north of Wanacue Avenue, you have the guide rail along the lakeside of Wanacue Avenue, and then you've got topography change on the other side of Ringwood Avenue, rather. So you potentially have takings associated with it. You might not have the proper topography on the lake change. So that can really add to a lot of expense more than just adding sidewalks. So I think my guess is that's probably, if they're following a complete streets policy, they can look at it that way. So.
Thank you. Because I have noticed a lot more pedestrians in town in general, which I'm happy to see a lot of more kids out than in years past. And that's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Cruz.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just get here. So I attended the Board of Adjustments meeting yesterday. They had three applications and one resolution that they need to vote on yesterday. All applications actually, and the resolution are all for residential properties. These include application BOA 2406, BOA 2407, and BOA 2410, with the resolution being 2405. So just quickly to go over this, because they didn't vote on all of them. For BOA 24-06, that was approved and that was voted on. For BOA 24-07, that was actually denied. There was more measurements that were needed for the architectural plans that they provided. It seems they were incorrect. And for BOA 2410, this property here, the attorney actually was sick and could not attend, so they did not move forward. They scheduled it for the following month. And the last item is BOA 24-07, and that was actually approved that night. Again, those are all residential properties. I do have one item for the Board of Ed. I just want everybody to know this is kind of exciting. I look forward to this when I was on the Board of Ed. So the Pompton Lake School District is now accepting nominations for the 24-25 Governor's Educator of the Year program. And this is a great way of just acknowledging just the great work that teachers do in the district and the state. It's a wonderful recognition to have, and it's a lot of your peers and the families that are here in the town that actually go ahead and vote. They will be publishing a link on the district website. By all means, I know for a lot of folks, maybe you don't have kids anymore, but maybe your grandkids, your nieces and nephews may be attending the schools. Just go out there and support your favorite teacher. I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to tell you. Okay, and that'll do it for my report, Mayor.
Yeah, and that you bring up a good point. I mean, if you don't get the emails from the school, you're not going to see that. Correct. So maybe look for it on social media or somewhere and do vote if you can.
Absolutely.
I just have one last thing. I did get a call from a resident today, and it's just she asked me to remind the public. She was taken by one of the scams where they send you an email and they ask for your ID and your bank account information. It was an older woman. She did lose some substantial money by giving the information because she thought it looked very real from where the bank that sent it to her. And she was very upset, and she's working to try to straighten it out. But it's just a reminder that if there's any question that something's sent to you, don't open it and go to your direct bank or whoever you deal with to find out that answer. Because this person, as she says to me, I'm not a stupid person, and I fell for it. So just keep that in mind. Attorney's report.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, the borough is working with our environmental consultant, Eco-Eye Sciences, on the site investigation study for the former A1 Auto Body Shop. We have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for this Friday as a result of soliciting bids for the demolition of the structure. And just to note, our environmental consultant is recommending the demo prior to the remediation, given that the underground storage tanks are under the concrete slab that is present. So again, we have a pre-con meeting for this Friday. We're hoping that the structure is down in 3 weeks. So that should be good news. It'll be graded along the river, and hopefully we can look to making that a park at some point. So we are going to see progress on that soon. Right now, we're accepting bids for the Dawes Highway Improvements Project. and the Lakeside Ave ADA curb ramp upgrades project. Both are funded in part by grants, and both are tied to grant deadlines. So we are trying to meet those deadlines. For the residents, both projects will be completed in the early spring. And as you saw on the agenda tonight, we had a bond ordinance for the Watervliet and Albany Ave Phase 1 Improvements Project, which consists of resurfacing from Albany Ave, from Riverdale Road to Riverview Road, and the full length of Watervliet Ave. A proposal is forthcoming from the borough engineer so he can prepare the engineering services and bid specifications for the project. So I anticipate that on the next agenda.
And when do you think the paving would take place? Next spring, right?
Right, so this project will be next spring. And I was just going to conclude with, I've developed a spreadsheet for both you and the public with upcoming timeframes on all our road work, and we'll be sending that to you tomorrow. And then lastly, I have consulted with the borough engineer and the DPW. We have recommendations for road resurfacing candidates for 2025, and I will send those to you to look at.
Okay, just real quick, on the A1, and I'll be at the meeting, so I'll remind you, but maybe we can fix the fencing on the bridge easily, because somebody ripped it off and it's all falling off. And since we're gonna make that look a little better, maybe we can just straighten out the fencing a little bit on that fence. Any questions for the administrator?
I have a couple.
Sure.
With all due respect, I wasn't done.
I thought
I thought they were.
Sorry about that.
Oh, now you're done. Go ahead.
To continue, we've received the audit, so hopefully at the next council meeting, you'll consider the required resolutions for the audit. Liz will distribute it to you in the coming days, and you can let me know if you have any questions or concerns on that. As you know, we have RFQs out for 2024. Those are due November 20th for all our borough professionals. Furthermore, the borough engineer and I have met on site at Lambert Street. I know a few of you have received emails on Lambert Street, on the guardrail, on the pedestrian bridge. So I can report that we are going to replace the guardrail this fall, and we are in the process of scheduling that work soon. And then separately, we are assessing the condition of the footbridge, and it's looking like we'll be recommending repairs for next year. Any new structure would require expensive permits. So we're looking to kind of rehab what we have to save costs. And then to just highlight what Councilwoman Kent said, the Open Space Committee is going to be voting on the Willowfield Improvements Project, the Lakeside Park gazebo repairs versus replacement project, and the Hirschfield Park Phase 2 Improvements Project, which is the replacement of the playground. And then I am having the borough engineer attend the December 11th council meeting to talk about those projects and to talk about the funding, the recommendations, and to answer any questions that you may have on those projects. And then lastly, the borough is continuing our rollout of the new health benefit program with the difference card. We are approaching 50% participation, and open enrollment ends on October 31st, and we're working with employees to sign up. And that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank
I
you.
just have one question. Regarding the Lambert Street project, what about the Acid Brook? I know there was a lot of overgrowth that was going on there. Obviously, it was quite extensive. Is the assessment already been done, if anything needs to be done at this point?
We've looked at the Acid Brook. I did contact DuPont Comores about it, and we've confirmed that the brook or parts of the brook are the responsibility and our private property. But we are looking into that further to make it more clear. But there is growth, there's collapse in the brook.
Yes.
So we're taking a
And
look
it's
at
about
that.
10 feet
Yeah.
down. I mean,
Is
and
that by Lambert?
that's the Lambert.
I
That's all
was-
the overgrowth that's going on over there.
I mean, I walked back, the owner came out of the one property and I walked back, she walked me back there and there's trees growing in there. And
Well, if it's on private property,
well,
you
I
can't
think
go,
some
yeah.
of it unfortunately is.
No, not DuPont property. If it's actually on, some of that is actually on private property.
Yes, it's actually her property,
Right.
but I didn't realize that. I thought that brook would be.
Well, anything in the Acid Brook is what I'm referencing.
Right, but some of the
Yes,
Acid
this
Brook is
is-
actually owned on property
owned?
lines, yeah.
It's owned
That's-
by.
That,
and then I
Okay,
don't know how you
hold
clear
on.
it out. It's pretty bad. I
Just
mean,
to
there's
just to
bushes
give
and
you an
trees
example, is that there's residents there, they're very elderly. And they're doing their best to keep up, but the growth of that is coming up faster than they can trim it. And it's a pretty extensive, growth that's going along almost the entire thing.
If it's private property, we can't go on.
Our only means to enforce that is to send out property maintenance, to do the work ourselves, and then to impose a lien against the property owners. If it was an unsafe or hazardous condition.
So let me ask you this, so if there's an issue of flooding, let's say, or not, or maybe because of all that, it's blocking, and then the water's going back, I mean, how are we supposed to address, are we gonna lien the homeowners then to clean that up because it's causing a backflow?
Well, no, DuPont is responsible for the actual, the parts of the river of Esserbrook, they're responsible for it. But there's some parts of Esserbrook higher up and lower down that are actually on private property.
Well, these are the ones that are by the bridge.
Right.
We're talking
Yeah,
about
by the bridge, I think would be DuPont's concern.
Okay, and I guess that's what I'm, it still bothers me about that, it's the homeowners part. But the part for, Comores, and that's something we've been in contact with them, obviously, to come take a look?
Right,
All
but just to clarify, the brook by the pedestrian bridge at Lambert Street is private property. And we did send out the property maintenance officer there, and,
Okay,
there are issues there.
So
and
that
we
is,
are looking
that
at
is the Esserbrook. I
Right.
mean, it's just a different part of the Esserbrook.
If you go back there behind the one house, there's trees and bushes
I mean, that's
growing.
ridiculous, I mean, I'm gonna have to go there myself with my trimmer. There's no way I'm gonna have a 70-year-old woman
There's
try
trees
climbing down or get a lien.
No, unfortunately, you might have to hire somebody to take care of it.
Yeah, I know, I know, but I mean, we're talking about people with fixed incomes here. And the growth of that is outrageous. We're not talking about in 6 months. This is years and them going like this, it's not realistic. It's not
I
realistic.
could see an exception around the pedestrian bridge, given it's kind of a quasi-borough
Yeah.
bridge, to maintain its integrity and safety. But when you encroach further into the brook, it's really private property.
I wonder if they even know.
They know.
Right.
They know that it's private property?
I have pictures. I'll send them to everyone. Yes, and they know.
Okay, all right, thank you for the update, Mike.
Thank you.
Get it?
Yeah, two questions. The speed limit sign at 2 Summit Avenue, we agreed that that was going to get moved. Do we have an ETA on that?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. And then the second thing is, you referenced the Lakeside Ave ADA ramps. Does that include the upgrades to the stop signs at Lakeside and Van, or is that going to be part of a milling and paving project?
That'll be part of our NJDOT FY25 grant that we're hopefully going to receive in the next month or
Yeah, we
two.
should work on those.
That'll be included there.
Okay.
We had this funding in place for the ADA ramps, and we had looked at repurposing that, but the county CDBG office told us it was past its life cycle to repurpose. So the intent is to replace the ramps now and then save cost on the DOT grant. That way we don't have to do it in the future.
You might want to reach out to the county. They have some extra funding from COVID that's how we got the one-stop sign over there. I mean, the flashing line. Maybe they'd be willing to pick up the cost if we could make it.
We'll give a thought.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions? Nope, okay. Workshop, road openings. Oh, boy.
Thank you, Mayor. So as requested at the October 9th Borough Council meeting, I did look into the road opening procedure for the borough at the request of the mayor. Right now, we do have a road opening permit. There's really no requirement, there is no requirement to replace the pavement if you have a road opening, right? PSE&G has to come in and kind of patch up. It may look unsightly for newly paved roads. So after consulting with the borough engineer, we're recommending an amendment to the borough code that would delineate that any cut greater than 50 square feet and has been paved in the last 5 years would be subject to a curb-to-curb replacement. And furthermore, a full street replacement wouldn't be upheld by our public utility entities, according to the attorney. So we're looking to adopt this sample ordinance from the Borough of Bloomingdale, which again would be anything greater than 50 square feet, and within the last 5 years of being paved, they would be subject to this curb-to-curb replacement. And then we're further asking the governing body to make a policy decision to kind of set up a more formal procedure for road opening permits, formal application, and then formal exceptions and appeal processes for these.
So when you say
for these
we
units.
don't have one now, if PSE&G is coming in to dig up a road, what do they, don't they have to apply for a permit?
They do, but
Okay.
there's no real set criteria in the code. We're looking to implement a curb-to-curb replacement. For instance, on Lincoln Ave last year, PSE&G came in and tore up the road.
Right.
Like a week after
A
we
week
paved it.
after we paved it, yeah.
They patched it, but it looks unsightly. If we had this code, they could have patched it curb to curb. It might have looked a little better.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So that's enough to enforce them to do that?
Yes. Yeah, so this would be for any road paved in the last 5 years.
Anybody have a concern with
This
that?
would apply for the MUA as well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And before we adopt such thing, we will consult with them.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move because, well, it has to be a new road though. So if it's not a new road, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's a water main break and they have to
Yeah.
open up the road,
Yeah, that's-
then
Yeah.
they're gonna be responsible for repaving
Yeah,
or, so,
absolutely.
Right, that's why we're looking at exceptions, emergencies,
right, okay.
right, so,
Well, be careful then,
Yeah, the
PG&E
second-
claiming emergencies
Yeah,
when they want to.
The second part of what's being recommended, just, it creates exceptions for that sort of thing.
But like,
Because currently, there's no criteria for granting an exception, it's just a penalty.
But can
So-
PSE&G say this is an emergency and that's an exception?
They can, but that doesn't free them if they exceed the 50 square feet from doing curb.
Still have to do curb.
Yeah.
Okay.
now Michael, are you also looking to implement a new process in place for them to submit the application? Is that also in?
we're looking to streamline the
Streamline
process
a
a
little
little
bit
bit better.
Okay.
Maybe look at the fee. I don't know the last time the fee's been
I'm not on this
updated.
now.
And then
That's good.
again, looking at exceptions and ways around if it was an emergency
Excellent.
or some unforeseen circumstance.
Those are all good things.
That's great. That's right.
So we'll prepare a draft ordinance for the November 13th meeting.
Okay, you, park permit?
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the ordinance committee did meet and did discuss the amendment to the park permit code. And I can share some recommendations, and then I would leave it up to the governing body to make a policy decision on what they would like to do. The committee is suggesting a waiver of permit fees for Pompton Lakes-based civic and 501c3 nonprofit organizations. The waiver may be granted at the discretion of the borough administrator or their designee upon request by the applicant. Furthermore, a clear definition, the committee felt, is required on what a civic and nonprofit organization is. And they further argued that the civic and nonprofit organization must show prior demonstrated contributions to the betterment of the community, which kind of maybe narrows down that pool of groups a little bit. Furthermore, we're looking to define what an event is. The code specifies that you have to get a permit for an event. We're looking to kind of further say what that requirement is, and in that, we're saying that perhaps it could be an organized gathering of individuals, and then the committee further suggested that the applicant has to have the event maybe open to the public. We kind of talked about what would happen if someone came in and had an event privately, so we were looking at that a little bit. And then we did recommend the number of attendees for the code to move it from, so it's listed by the number of people. So it's up to 25 people, 25 to 50, and maybe off on the numbers, so on and so forth. We're looking to go from up to 25, from 15 to 25, that being any event under 15 people would not need a permit. So we did discuss that. And then we did discuss striking the requirement for a permit for the utilization of any trail. And that's section G of the code. So those are kind of the committee's recommendations in a nutshell.
Guys
And
wanna add
we're looking for feedback.
All right, so when we met, one of the things we talked about was, you know, if you have a birthday party and you have 10 kids coming over on the playground, we're not going to require them to have a permit to do that when you're just bringing kids to the playground. But if it's an organized event, like you said, and that's what we have to structure a little bit, an organized event, maybe there's food there and everything, then you do need to have a permit. It might be waived, but at least we're aware of the event. If there's any pickups involved, or garbage, or any of that kind of talk. I think the intent initially was for the lake. This all came from when we did the lake, and it kind of morphed into this other thing. So I think we worked out a good compromise, waiting to hear what you guys think.
I just have a question.
Sure.
So you said organized, like, if over a certain amount of people, then you would have to invite the public, but, so if the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts are having an event in the park, that's for them specifically? I mean, I don't think you're gonna invite the public.
Well, normally they would be inviting the public, because it'd be an event they open to the public. So in other words, like a fall festival.
Yes, but I'm just thinking
They
like,
do
what if they have,
campfire.
they do campfire and
Campfire,
they're not
right.
inviting the
Not
public to
necessarily open to the
that?
public.
I don't think the committee was suggesting that, they
No.
just
Well,
talked about that.
Okay, I'm just saying, 'cause you
really,
gotta
we're-
watch the wording, because then
Yeah.
you're gonna have, it's still gonna, or then we'll still have a problem.
I think basically, we're looking to waive civic and 501c3 nonprofits and amend any event under 15 people doesn't need a permit. I think that's
I'm fine
really
with
the.
that.
Yeah, I think once we put it together, we see it in writing, I think we'll be okay with
Yeah.
what
That
we're
makes
putting
sense.
out there. Pretty much it covers most of our organizations in town. The concern became, you might be a 501c, but not from town, and how do we handle that? That, say it was a group from another town, but they do a 501c. So that's why we added the civil-minded part of it, that you had to show evidence of doing some work here in town to kind of get away from that.
Okay,
What was the part about the trails? I missed that.
So there's a section of the ordinance that requires, it says any and all events that are used for the use of a trail for an event with 10 or more people shall require a permit and a fee of $50 or more. We're gonna get rid of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you can move forward with that, and
Yeah.
I think, unless somebody has
Sounds
any
good.
concern with it?
no, sounds
No?
good.
Okay,
We'll have a draft ordinance for the next meeting.
good,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Okay, motion to open the meeting for public comments.
So moved. Second.
Councilman Cruz, Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Lauren Bennett, 4 Sunset Road. The Asset Brook conversation, this was discussed at our last Flood Advisory Board meeting. We pulled the tax maps, looked at some photos and information. Councilwoman Gilbert had been in the area and had brought the resident concerns back to Flood Advisory Board. We did discuss it, and some of it, yes, is public property. There was a section that was borough property also. But that is a concern. The Flood Advisory Board did discuss it, and we can certainly discuss it again tomorrow. Councilman Cruz, if you want to attend, 7:30 tomorrow, if you wanted to kind of take a look at the information we had pulled. We had the tax maps up, we had looked at it and looked at what was public, what was private, and it is something that we've always had with the river maintenance. This are what's public property, what's private, getting into it, getting out of it, and there are trees growing in the dry portions of the brook that has been dry for a while.
Yes.
So that is a concern. And the other thing, Girl Scout hat instead of flood board. Thank you for considering. Thank you for the discussion. Thank you, Councilwoman Gilbert, for questioning the public part of it, because I'm just thinking when the Shade Tree Commission ran a Arbor Day event at the park for the Scouts, you start to get into these weird things where when you're running things for the kids and you're being very conscious of what adults are present, and we require background checked adults to be present, and we do tend to be very minded about the safety of the kids. I assume Boy Scouts probably has all the same requirements and is just as safety minded for the kids. So thank you for bringing that concern up.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Randy Hitton, 443 Montclair Avenue. Election day coming up. Is the borough open or closed? Just
We are open.
No.
The
Well, I mean, we're open for voting.
I'll be here.
Yeah, but I mean, we're open. Yeah, people
But the
vote
office
here.
will be closed?
The office is closed, yes.
Okay, DPW?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have that, yeah. I'll answer at the end.
Oh, write it down.
Yep.
Start writing. Just a curious question, the deer count and understory evaluation, is that been done or gonna be done? Just to tell the public, the mating season is just about to start for white-tailed deer, to be careful. Day or night, deer will just run right across the road. I've seen quite a few dead ones on 287 already. The new parking meter app, is that supposed to go into effect at the end of October or November 1st?
I think it was
Love of my
November.
life just got a text message from the borough about it, so wanted to mention that. And Lambert Street, the guardrail is entangled in the trees. Are those trees going to be removed? A lot of those tree roots are helping to hold that bank. And also on the other side of that footbridge, on the right-hand side, that's a borough lot. That's borough property. And it's covered in bamboo. I don't know if you want to address that also. But the trees, I was curious if you're going to remove those trees or not. That guardrail was damaged actually by the, from what I understand, by the borough plowing snow, but these things happen, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public would like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Council-
Second.
Council President Klein, Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ms. Bennett, thank you for bringing up the whole thing about the fee structure. You know, we're here to help and try to work it out, so that's what we did, and we had a good meeting, and we brought it back to the public, so I think we're going to make that work. Acid Brook, and you touched the nail on the head, and you know this from the Flood Advisory Board. It's not the fact of getting to the property, it's how we get the equipment to the river on private property. You know, some people can say, no, I don't want the equipment on my property, and then we can't go on the property, and we're not allowed to go up the river bank with the machinery to do that. So that's where the real problem, and that goes back to your point, Bob, that's where the real problem becomes, because if they're not gonna let us on the property, we can't get to fix anything.
Yeah.
So that becomes the negotiation there. Mr. Hinton, we'll start with Lambert Street. I'm sure they look into the trees. I know the trees are growing into that whole thing, and I'm sure they're addressing that, along with the fact that I know we own the lot on the right. I didn't know there was bamboo, so if there is bamboo, we should probably remove that. You have anything you want to say about that, Mike?
Just to add, the trees will be cut down.
Okay. The apps, yes, it will start soon, but it's on there'll be no ticketing. Is that correct, Mike, for the first month?
Correct, and I apologize, I meant to bring that up, I got sidetracked.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're looking to roll that out next week.
Right.
The DPW will be installing the stickers and the signage early next week, and a launch of midweek.
Again, but just an educational for for first month? What is it? There'll be no fines for the first month.
Soft enforcement
Soft-
for a month or so. Yeah.
Yes, we are closed on election day, but the offices are open to vote. You know, this building is open to vote. Liz will be here a nice long 14, 15 hours to oversee that. And I think that's it. Okay. Oh, the deer count. Mike, do we have anything on the deer count?
We're waiting on the formal grant agreement from the state, which has been delayed. So hopefully in the spring, we can do the study.
But you bring up a good point, Mr. Hinton. This is rut season, and deer are running in every different direction, so we should all be careful when driving on the streets. Okay, motion to close the public session. Oh, I did that. No, I didn't do that. Did you? No, I don't think I did that.
Privilege of the floor.
Privilege of the floor. Anybody with privilege of the floor?
I have something,
Good.
a couple things. As mentioned, Tuesday, November 5th is Election Day. This is our last council meeting before Election Day. I want to wish all the candidates good luck on the election. And then secondly, earlier tonight, a member of the public made a statement that I actually vociferously disagree with, and that's that this mayor and council represent the people that agree with us. That is not true. I shouldn't probably speak on behalf of the mayor and council, but we don't ask people's politics when somebody comes up to us and asks for help. We don't care about that. This is a community of 11,000 people, give or take. You know, I believe we try and do the right thing for all our neighbors, all our residents, regardless of what they believe in, whether we agree with them or disagree with them. I couldn't tell you half of what people think, and I don't really care. If somebody needs help, And I know, again, I see nodding heads that like, we're interested in helping, people of Pompton Lakes, and I think that's why we're up here. And, you know, we're not ignoring people for the sake of their politics or anything else. Thank you.
Well said, well said. Just a reminder that leaf season has begun, so it's once a week garbage pickup, and you can put your leaves, and they'll pick them up at the curb. As we mentioned, November 5th is Election Day. Our Wednesday, November 6th, is our Veterans Day ceremony, and November 11th, Veterans Day, the municipal building and all our facilities will be closed. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes? Thank you, everyone, for attending.
I just-
Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we don't need to close it.
No, I got it done.